Hello, welcome to another episode of Camposol Through Time. Today we're going back to the middle of the last century to remember the dark days of the transition from the Spanish Civil War into World War II and the impact it had on our own local people's families. I'm glad to welcome back our very own historian and time traveller Antonio Hernandez Benitez. Antonio, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
So this period of time, middle of the last century, it was very, very traumatic for a lot of people in Spain and Europe, of course. Can you just give us an overview of the timeline from, say, the beginning of the Civil War to the transition where it went then into the Second World War? I mean, what years we're looking at, just an overview of the actual timeline now.
Well, basically, the Spanish Civil War is right before the Second World War. It started in 1936 and finished in 1939. Actually, just a few months before the World War started in Europe.
And there was two sides, wasn't there? The two sides in the Civil War. Let's remind ourselves about those. That's
well, there was the national side, which are the ones who are going to be fighting against the Spanish Republican government, which there was a republic in those days, and the Republican side, which actually they will be fighting against the nationals, which later on is going to be Franco on charge of the national side. So there will be somehow like the Republicans against Franco, basically.
And that ended with, obviously, the nationalists and Franco winning the war as such, or certainly taking control of Spain.
Exactly.
And then how did that move then into the relationship between Spain and what was happening in the rest of Europe with World War II?
Well, think about already in the Spanish Civil War, it's like a small world war somehow, okay? And in the Franco side, actually, it's going to be supported mainly for Mussolini and Hitler, as well some other small groups like as well the Catholic Church and different other countries like Argentina or Ireland or even the United States. They will be selling fuel and selling different stuff to the Franco side. And in the other side, we'll have the Republicans. Majority of the support is going to come from the Soviet Union. Even if they were coming volunteers from different other countries with the International Brigade, many British actually, they came to fight in Spain, but the majority of the support is going to come from Soviet Union. So somehow it's more like a Second World War already in Spain.
So the Republicans were backed by the Russians, and the Franco side was backed by
Germans and
the
Italians.
Germans and Italians, Mussolini and Hitler. Okay, so that came to an end, or certainly a quieting of times in 1939, and obviously the Second World War started in 1939. What was Spain's relationship with, because it was now Franco in charge, what was the relationship between Franco and the Frankish Spain and Hitler and Germany at the time?
Well, Spain will be neutral during the whole Second World War. They will be moving slightly into the Axel side, no, into Franco and into Hitler and Mussolini side. But then later on they will be separating them from because when they see like they are not winning the war and so on, Franco is gonna try to go into the other side. Okay, but what I mean is like Spain officially is gonna be neutral, the same as Switzerland or Sweden or Portugal they were. And actually they will carry on somehow like that. Even so, Spain, they will send volunteers to fight with Hitler against the Russians, against the Soviet Union.
Volunteers, not part of the army, not official.
No, volunteers.
So was this unofficial, or was it
No, well, it was actually the Falange, the political party, which is going to be ruling under the Franco times. They're going to be the ones who are going to be in charge of the recruiting, no? all the volunteers. And in different cities in Spain, there will be offices where people they can sign and they can go to fight into the Eastern.
So what was motivating the people to actually go and fight another person's war?
Different reasons. Some people they have some relatives in jail because of the war. No, they were enemies of Franco, and they wanted to somehow to get those relatives outside of the jail, no, or liberated. And some others as well, they have like a past to hide, and the best way to hide this past is actually joining this, okay, and showing to the Franco government that they are actually in the Franco side and so on. Some others, they are just looking for adventure, and some others as well because of their ideology. They were fighting against the communism, you know. So there's why as well plenty of other people they join. Actually, they have the slogan the sentence that they used to be using in those days, it was Russia has the blame, the blame of everything, of the Spanish Civil War and so on. Okay, so plenty of people actually joined.
Because obviously the Franco side would recognise that the Republicans would have been getting support from Russia, so that sort of animosity would have carried on through.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so think about right at the beginning of the Second World War, which is after the Spanish Civil War. It's going to start like a very dark times in Spain, which is going to be we call it the repression times, when the Franco government is going to try to eliminate as much enemies as possible. No, and everyone has surrendered already to Franco. Actually, Murcia is going to be the last area for Franco to conquer, no? So how to get in with the army. Actually, Cartagena is going to be the last city to fall into the Franco side. And obviously, the population in Murcia is going to suffer like a special punishment somehow for that.
Because they were the last ones to fight against him. And that integration between, when it became Franco-led, a lot of the people around here, they suffered because of that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, all of our families, somehow they suffer in different ways.
Because your family's been around for 300 years in this area? Sure. I think you were saying a couple of
Yes, for instance, my grandfather, and he was 5 years in jail because he was in the Republican Army. He was just a builder, but because of that, he was 5 years in jail. And many other relatives, we don't know where are they at the moment. We know that they tried to escape to France. We don't know if they managed to cross the border to France or they were killed by the Franco army or the Franco police in those days. And we don't know if they were eliminated by the Nazis, because plenty of people who actually escaped from Spain, especially from the east of Spain, which is the last area to fall into the Franco side, actually they managed to escape majority or many of them to the to the south of France, and a few as well to the north of Africa. Okay, so the ones in the south of France, they think, or they were thinking in those days. Actually, they were safe because they were in a democratic country and so on. Yeah. And they were actually into refugee camps. They used to call it. They were actually living in the refugee camps.
So this is quite a big population of people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What, thousands?
Thousands or even millions. Some estimations.
Right.
They can
so
even
it's a huge shift of. These are mainly sort of Republican supporters didn't feel safe anymore under Franco,
exactly.
So they moved north past Barcelona and moved into south of France for safe haven.
Exactly.
And what happened then? Because the Second World War started.
Exactly. The Second World War started, and as you know, like France is going to surrender quite at the beginning of the Second World War. So France is going to be split into different sides, the Vichy government in the south and the France, which is going to be under control of the Nazis in the north and west. Okay, and those people who are actually under the Vichy government, they're going to start to be suspicious for different reasons, okay, because the Nazis, they will find out that actually there are thousands of Spanish with war experience, and actually they are collaborating with the resistance, and they start to be a problem for the Nazis. And there is a big controversial because there is actually a contact from the German government to the Spanish government. They're asking what are they going to do with all those population, no? Like living there. Is going to Franco take it back to Spain, and Franco is going to refuse them. They're going to refuse to take all those people back into Spain, and actually they will lose somehow they will lose their nationality. So the Nazis, the German army in those days, they will find a solution for that, which is actually to create 2 concentration camps to eliminate all the Spanish. Okay, one is going to be Mauthausen, and the other one is going to be Gosen.
And I'm not familiar with those two. Where are they in Germany itself?
Well, between.
But they're not in the south of France.
No, they're not in the south of France. Obviously,
so they have to transport all these people north.
They will have, yes, the same as they used to do with the Jewish population or the Gypsy population, or different others, enemies of them, because not only the Jews.
The same happened with
the Spanish. Yes. Actually, they create a symbol. I mean, think about the Germans. They used to classify everything. Okay, so. We all know, because of the films in Hollywood and so on, that the Jewish population, they used to have the yellow star.
Yes.
Okay? But actually the rest of the prisoners in the concentration camps, they used to have a triangle, okay, with different colors. The red triangle used to be called like enemies of the political enemies. They can be communist or socialist or anything like that. Yeah. They used to have a red triangle. A pink triangle was for homosexuals. okay? And they create a triangle for the Spanish, which used to be blue with a red S of Spanian. Okay, this was the symbol of the Spanish, and they actually forced them to build actually Mauthausen, this concentration camp or working camp, okay, where they used to the population used to work and die over there, and it was actually majority of the population there, they were Spanish until actually the end of the Second World War, when they were liberated by the American forces.
Yeah.
And actually there is a picture where the Allied forces, they approach the national camp, where they say in Spanish, the Republican fighters, they welcome to the Allied forces, right in the door, because majority they were Spanish.
I never heard of, obviously we've heard of that, the Jewish in Germany during the war. I've never heard about the fact that Spanish, and it makes me wonder if the Germans are so keen on eliminating different problems and their final solution was just to get everybody in the same place, and were they using it as a work camp or actually an extermination camp?
Well, it was both somehow, because somehow like majority of people who actually went over there, they died, okay, because of the living conditions, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
They used to call it working camp, actually, because of the living conditions. It was not really thought about working. It was really thought about using this labor for different things, and obviously to try to kill as many as possible. Okay. But yes, they did it not only with the Jewish population, as well with different other groups, as I say, gypsies or homosexuals or people with different ideologies. They used to be
a difference.
Exactly. Anyone who is different or somehow opposite to
against or different, so they could identify that it was a difference, or actually had political opposition and therefore was a threat.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it happened all over the south of Spain, all over Spain, I take it, where people were moving.
Well, majority of the country, but especially people who managed to escape somehow to France and so on, were people basically from the east and the east side of Spain. Before Barcelona and Catalonia is going to fall into the Franco side, plenty of people, they managed actually to escape to the French border or to reach the French border, trying to escape from Franco because of that, and then those people actually are going to be the ones who are going to be actually exterminated or killed in the concentration camps.
But there were some people from Camposol and from the areas around here, from Cartagena, obviously because it's the last stronghold of the Republicans, but also Mazaron as well. There's some people from
Mazaron actually they were
that left, and there's a record of this as well, isn't there?
Yes, actually there is a memorial area in Mazaron town where they remember all the victims of Mauthausen and Gusen, which they were actually residents of Mazaron. Quite a lot of them. They were actually residents of Mazaron.
Where is this memorial?
Well, right at the entrance of Mazaron, when you just pass the mines. Okay.
Mazaron town.
Mazaron
Old
town.
town as you're coming down. Yeah.
Exactly. The first traffic lights that you can find, actually on the right, on the left side, there is La Via Street. There is a junction with just going into the Mazaron town or La Via Street.
That one goes to the football ground, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yes,
So right over there is the memorial area.
Oh, okay.
For the victims.
And it's still there for you to have a look
at. And every year they do actually a small memorial. The council always doing something to remember. Like the victims and so on. Actually, it's not an exception. And there is another memorial as well in Águilas, okay, and they were actually victims in Mauthausen and Gusen from majority of the districts here in Murcia. But unfortunately, there is no memorials for that. Like, for instance, you go to Alhama or you go to Totana and so on, there are not, but obviously they were victims of them.
Yeah, still from this area.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, at the end of the war, obviously when people were, the survivors of the camps were liberated, but also the people that had sort of survived the war and France being free again, did they come straight back to France, to Spain, sorry?
No, majority of them, they couldn't even cross the border, okay, because there was like a ban for plenty of people who were fighting against Franco during the Spanish Civil War.
Yeah, so
they couldn't come. During 40 years, they have to stay in France. I'm talking about France because majority of them, they actually stay in the south of France.
This is like 2 generations.
Oh, yes.
40 years.
40 years.
So they built their lives in France. And is there quite a big population of Spanish in the south of France?
Still.
Because of this legacy?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, and plenty of people who actually they were part of this group that actually they were in the south of France. Actually, where I still have like a small old farm, okay, which I grow my own olive trees and so on. And many of the plots that they're actually around, they seems to be abandoned, okay, because it seems like no one is the owner and so on. But it's because of that, no? Because the people who should have is the owner actually. Many of them they migrate to France. So sometimes we have the visit of someone from France, who is a relative of us, you know, and well, they're coming.
There's actually quite a lot of around here in the hills and Campo, quite a lot of buildings that are derelict, but they don't look like they've been derelict for hundreds of years. It looks like more like 50, 60 years.
Exactly.
And this is.
No, it's not the main reason, but it's one of the reasons as well.
Okay.
Because of this lack of persons or owners on some plots, actually they become empty. Okay, and someone is the owner, but obviously because this person have died and the sons they have to claim for that and so on. Well, it's a quite complicated thing on the bureaucracy and so on.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, but actually it's funny because sometimes, as I say, like. Someone from France is coming to try to find out the past, no? Like they say, like, oh, my grandmother used to be from here, from this area, and my surnames are this and this and this, and then you're trying to build and think, oh, well, it's probably a relative of mine, you know, because of the surnames and so on, and because the house that they're looking for or the plot that they're looking for is very close to mine, have to be probably a relative of mine, you know.
It's the link of history through time. It's the link from who we are, what we're doing now in our lives, how we live our lives. But you just have to look around the corner and you get a link, a physical link, like the memorial in Matheron. You get a physical link to times when it wasn't so good.
Exactly.
You know, and we like to moan about things from day to day, but in those days it was a proper challenge for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're talking about nowadays we complain about many things and we moan about plenty of things every day, you know. And but if we compare with the generation of my grandparents, no, the ones who were suffering all this and so on, we don't have any right to be complaining about anything actually.
We really don't. Fascinating insight again. Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you.
That's once again great knowledge. Great to have you back, thank you. And thanks very much to you for watching as well. This is Camposol Through Time on Camposol TV. All the other episodes that we've got are on the YouTube channel, so go to Camposol TV YouTube channel and they're there in the listings side of things, so you can find them there. I think there's about 20 odd now. Thanks for watching, take it easy, and we'll see you the same time next week on Camposol Through Time. Thanks, Antonio.
Thank you.
Cheers. Brilliant.